I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?
Hey everybody, welcome to the show tonight. We are going to be covering Legends of the Little Folk. You guys, this is a part of the cryptid community that you don't hear a lot about, but believe it or not, there's more out there about these little people, little folk, whatever you want to call them. They go by many different names, but we're going to talk about them tonight. As you guys can see, I'm rolling solo tonight. No big deal. I mean, I wish I had my co-host with me, but done it before and I'll do it again. So, before we really get into the show, I see people coming on in and I'll just kind of chat with you guys. So if you guys got any questions, hey Racings, how's it going, buddy? Glad you can make the show. Any questions, let me know. Hey, what's up there, Greasebag McQueen? What's going on, buddy? If you guys have any questions or anything, please put them in the chat and I'll get to them as soon as I possibly can. Thank you so much for good evening, y'all. 3 more days. I am 25 years old. 26 years in a row. Richie Evans, nice. Wade, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, you guys, I'm going solo tonight. So, who here has ever encountered a little person, or who in here has someone they know who has possibly had an encounter with a little person? Love to hear about those. You guys know where to send me an email, thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. You guys, I'm going to kind of go on a little rant here. What's up, Justin? I'm going to go on kind of like, wait, I need to hear that story. So I'm going to go on a little rant here. So who in here has used, who's used Reddit? I'm gonna be honest, I'm pretty new to Reddit. I've been on Reddit for a little while, but the workings of it really don't know. I joined the military subreddit group to put some, just try to get some stories out there, say, hey, anybody had a story while you're active duty, on or off base, on deployment, whatever, hey, let me know. I'd like to have you on my show. And you spend an absurd amount of time on it. Well, here's my thing, you guys. I have been permanently banned from the military subreddit Reddit group. And the reason being is apparently I violated their rules or whatnot of that group. So, my thing is this, you guys, I don't even know what the rules are. I asked them. They haven't got back to me. But I can still be part of the group and I can see what people are posting. But I know, Greaseback, I know that's how we met, man. But I can't comment or anything like that. So I don't know, man. I really don't know. It's real finicky, I mean, I don't know what their beef is. Again, I tried to get people, I just want new, fresh stories for people out there trying to get them out. But I'll tell you right now, I post, as you guys know, I'm a security police veteran for the United States Air Force. So I belong to quite a few groups, and a lot of the groups that I have posted in, they are blowing up. I have people sending me stuff all the time, and this just happened today. So, there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, that's true. Hey, Greasebag, that's 100% true. The mods on Reddit are on Power Trip. Absolutely. Reddit is the only place where I've had problems with people. Alan, absolutely. I agree 100%. Yeah, it bothers me. I don't understand what their problem is. I'm just trying to get my name out there, trying to get my podcast out there, trying to bring, new interviews and stuff like that. So, you guys, if you realize I haven't really done any interviews this week because of the holiday, but next week isn't completely open. So if you guys know anybody or you yourself have had an encounter, you have not been on my show and you'd like to come on, please send me an email to cryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. I have a person that I will be interviewing on Tuesday, and I can't wait to interview them. They were on Josh's show, and I've been on this person's show. So you guys are just going to wait and have to figure out who it's going to be. They'll their episode will probably be released mid part of July. So, all right, you guys. Looks like we got some pretty good active people in the chat. So, I mean, we're starting off with 15 people so far. Not a problem. Yeah, I talk about UFOs. Hey, Carl, what's up, bud? How you been, man? Hey, Joe Mama, what's up? Hi, how are you? So this is Sherry, what's up? This is kind of awkward for me. Normally I have, a couple guest hosts, but it's okay. We can do this. So, let's get on into it. You guys, I have been really fascinated with the different types of um um little people. Now, I interviewed someone named Dan Hammond, who talked about a little person encounter that he had and someone else had that he had contact with. And I got fascinated with them, and I grew up um, hearing about, you know, uh, Darby O'Gill and the Little People, and hold on one second here, guys. Darby O'Gill, the Little People, Gulliver, and the Travels and things like that. So I'm training for End of the World, Daniel. Everybody I think trains for the end of the world, but you hear about leprechauns and fairies and wood sprites and all that kind of stuff. And they've always kind of fascinated me. Um, but I didn't really know what to really think about them because again, I thought they were things like you would see on the movies. Then I started hearing people talk about them. Oh, I've seen little people. And I've seen little people of the woods. I've seen the wood fairies, and I've seen little trolls, and then my eyes started opening up and listening more, and it's yeah, it's pretty interesting once you get in there and start looking at it. So, a lot of the things that I had seen about little people is they have a lot of different names that come with them. They're very prevalent in the native folklore and even overseas. So, I mean, here in North American and indigenous legends, you have the Pukwudgies. I think it's how you say it. You have the Ni- Nimerigar. You have the Muskawaski or I know I said that wrong. The Mohegan, little people of the Pryor Mountains. That's part of the Crow tribe folklore. Hey, Joe Mama, I believe they're very fascinating. The Catawaba from South Carolina, and let me kind of go over just some of the descriptions of you know what they go with. So the Pukwudgies or the Wamp, you guys, I'm so sorry for butchering these names. I don't Pukwudgie. I think it's Pukwudgies, knee-high forest-dwelling beings known for both helpful acts and deadly trickery, luring people off cliffs, shooting poison darts, or even shape-shifting and casting magical lights. That is really cool to me, to hear something. It's frightening, but also cool. And then you have the Shoshone, from the Shoshone tribe in the Idaho region, the Nimerigar, aggressive little folk armed with poison darts, capable of hunting large animals, but also sometimes very playful with laughter and echoes through the woods. Now, I've heard a couple people telling me that they've had encounters with little people because they've heard the laughter. It sounds like children laughing. Question: what is the name of the little people of Hawaii? You know what? Let me ask that real quick. Hold on one second. Is the name of the little people in Hawaii? I'm gonna be asking. See, there's a lot of people. Legends South East. Oh, I absolutely know. Um, they are the Menehune, Menehune, Menehune. The Menehune are said to be a race of small dwarf-like people who live hidden deep in the forests and valleys of the Hawaiian Islands, especially on Kauai, according to the native traditions. They're average about 2 to 3 feet tall, They're known as master builders, stonemasons, and craftsmen. They work only at night to avoid being seen by humans. If spotted, they would instantly vanish or abandon whatever they're building. Credited for constructing ancient structures such as fish ponds, roads, temples, and irrigation ditches. Let's see here. Let's see. There is a lore here. It says that Alikiko Fish Pond, the Menehune Fish Pond in Kauai, is said to have been built in a single night by hundreds of Menehune passing stone hand to hand from distant quarries. Some tales say the Menehune would grant wishes or leave small gifts for kind people, but played tricks on those who disrespected the land. Hi, Brianna. Hey, AI, what's up? Yeah, guys, I honestly I believe that. And I think that kind of goes with cryptids all in general, with an exception of certain cryptids. Um Wade, welcome 1 month, member for 1 month. Thanks, buddy. And then Joel, a little people, lots of and are we talking upstate New York? Not necessarily down the city. So I don't know. I definitely, would like to dig more into this and then cover specific encounters or events surrounded around little people. So what we got going on with this one as well is that there's some modern encounters here in Hawaii. Those considered folklore. Many native Hawaiians, especially elders, maintain quiet beliefs on the Menehune. There are occasional reports of small shadowy figures in remote valleys moving quickly and then vanishing, or of mysterious, perfectly built structures of unknown origin. So, I mean, there's tons and tons of specific things out there. Um, I'm going to go through a couple of stories that I had found, and then my printer went on the fritz. So I'm going to have to read from my phone, guys. So I do apologize. Um, this I found this pretty amazing that this was a encounter that was up in Canada from a Ojibwe tribe up in Canada. It says the encounter I'm sharing. Now, this is coming from the person who actually had the encounter. The encounter I am sharing today is one of the many strange stories my family and I have had to tell. I'm going to tell the story of my dad's spiritual guidance, who happens to be a Bigfoot. But that's for another time. This is person, a personal experience that, but members of my families. Ever since I can remember, my siblings and I have been surrounded by spiritual things and have had a good understanding of unexplainable things. As many of the elders in my family were medicine men and women, little people are known to live on the reservation here, where I'm from. And as long as we don't bother them, they don't bother us. But that's only on the reservation. Agreements aren't going to be the same everywhere. This encounter happened to my dad's brother, who at the time was only 3, and my father, 25. Well, we'll call my brother Jake. My dad had just put my brother asleep and decided to watch the television before he himself went to bed. In the living room was a hallway that led to Jake's room, and where the couch and the television were placed made it so that you couldn't see into the hallway. The whole time, my dad kept hearing these tiny footsteps in the hallway, but thought nothing of it since we owned a cat, Emily. 30 minutes in to watching a movie, my dad began hearing the little footsteps again, leading into my brother's room. This time, just as quick as the footsteps started, they ended. About 10 seconds later, my dad heard a strange and startling gurgling, whooping, kind of like a hyena, but toned way down. And all the while, my brother was crying and screaming. The sound of this chilled my dad to the bone, and he had let's see, and as he was grabbing the nearest blunt object, he heard whatever scared my brother jump off his bed and run out of his room. When my dad reached my brother, Jake began rapidly repeating, "There was a little man on me," while making the gesture showing about how tall he was. My dad seems to think that the little man is Jake's spiritual guide. Ever since my brother told us this little man isn't hostile, but friendly, as he has had more encounters with him since then. Jake's now 24 and hasn't seen the little man for a couple of years now. I hope I don't meet this little man. Can you guys believe that? Okay, understand, you guys are parents. You just put your 3-year-old down to bed and you're watching TV, and then you hear these little footsteps. Don't think really anything of it. Might be the cat. And then you hear him again, and then you hear this weird noise. Then you hear your son screaming, and you run in there. You hear something jump off the bed and run out of the room. And when you get there, your 3-year-old is telling you, "There's a little man on me." I don't know. My daughter has seen little gnomes a couple of different times. Everybody in here who has had any encounters with little people, please email me at the cryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. This is just like the Kushtaka and the Yowie to me. These are stories that I'm dying to get a hold of to bring you on if you'd like to come on. If not, just collect them. Because you guys, honestly, I'm also working on a book, and not just one of my personal experiences, but I'm working on a book about you guys, about my listeners that have had encounters that are just amazing to me. And I understand, no, if no one wants to come on the show, I don't fault anybody for that, because it's not always that easy to come on here and sit down for 30 to 60 minutes and tell about something that pretty much traumatized you. And just let you guys know that, when I'm doing this book, that I wouldn't do it without your permission. And if you don't want your name involved, your name could be anonymous. The location could be a generalized location, and all it has to be is like a time of year. And that's what I like to do. I have tons of books, you guys. I mean, all these books that I have here are from people have written into authors and said, "Hey, I've had this incredible story that's been sitting on my chest for umpteen years, pork chops and apple size." They've had these encounters that's been sitting on their chest, on their shoulders, and they want to share it, but they're afraid of the backlash and the ridicule and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm just telling you, you guys, I am definitely going to be a gatekeeper for all you guys' story. Hey, Racings, man, thank you so much. You guys, thank you, you know, for all the support that you show and sending me the messages. I truly appreciate them. And you guys, if you don't know Racings, he usually will come in and he'll drop like 5 gifted subs or 10 gifted subs, or it's a couple times he's dropped 20 gifted subs. Just like tonight he did 5. And thank you, because he's allowing other people to get on, become a member of the Cryptid crew, a member of the channel. And yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm so grateful for him. So again, not only am I grateful for him, I'm grateful for everybody else, So, let's get into another story. So what did you guys think about that story? The guy goes in, his little son says, "Hey, there's a little man on me." You know, Again, a lot of Native American folklore believe that these can be spiritual guides. So, and Squatch Mama, hey, how's it going? Welcome to the show. All right, let's talk about another one. Now, these ones are just kind of just basic encounters. I would really like to get in and see if I can research them more and get more detail about them. But again, I have a book by the late great Linda Gottfried that has a whole chapter on, and here he goes again, Ray dropping 5 more memberships. So anybody that these memberships go to, claim them when you can. And then you guys will be getting into a drawing for a hat that I have. And some other things. Now, the drawing started June 25th. It's going to end July 25th. And in order to get in there, you just have to be a member of the channel. It's $2.99 for membership. With that membership, you get early access to a Saturday release, which I do once a month. And I'm telling you right now, Rastings has made it possible for many, many, many people to become, even if it's for a month, to be a member of this channel. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for everybody who comes in and likes and views and comments and subscribes. It's fantastic. So thank you so much. Let's get back into some really, really cool stories. This one is from Joan and her dog in Freetown, Fall River State Forest in Massachusetts. While walking her dog, Sid, in the woods, Joan's dog bolted off trail and lay frozen. Joan went after him and saw a 2-foot tall, gray skinned troll like creature with deep green eyes, canine like nose, pot bellied, and mostly hairless, except for on his head and arms. The creature later tapped at her bedroom window nightly for 2 weeks until she moved away. Okay. You guys, I know one place in one country that is very well known for like trolls or gnomes is Iceland. And I had a buddy of mine I was stationed with in Germany who had just come over from Iceland. And what was going on is I moved into this one dormitory and okay, stand by on that story. Dan, an 8-year-old girl got attacked a few weeks ago by an animal the officials still have not identified. Sherry, can you please email me a link to that story or where I can find that story? I'd like to read more upon that. Those kind of things really make my ears perk up so I can kind of read and see where was this at. So let me know where that's at. But anyway, back to the story. So I was like misplacing things I thought or losing things in my dorm room. And I'm like, I don't, no, I don't know what's going on. I would, and I'm talking a dorm room. It's just a single room, you know, like a bedroom. I had a bed, a desk, a dresser, a refrigerator, 2 wall lockers, my TV, my stereo, and that's pretty much it. And I was losing things like a pen, like an ink pen a ballpoint pen that I'd write with, um, a remote control, uh, and another couple just insignificant little things that would just wind up disappearing. And I would ask people, "Hey, you been in my room? How'd you get in my dorm room?" And people are like, "Dude, we don't know what you're talking about." And I was talking about it with some friends, and this guy who just got stationed where I was stationed at from Iceland, he goes, "You have just random things missing?" I go, "Yeah, I do." And he goes, "Man, it sounds you got like a troll that's yeah, it's like a troll." And I go, "What do you mean like a troll? Like under the bridge, you know, Billy Goat's gruff or whatever it is?" And he's like, "No, they're like little people, and they're tricksters, they're pranksters, and they like to take things." He goes, "If you want your stuff back," he goes, "put some tobacco or a cigarette or something on your windowsill and just say, 'Hey, listen, I want my stuff back. This is for you. Stop taking my stuff.'" And I'm like, whatever. And sure enough, I decided to do it. And like a week later, all my stuff was back. Everything that I lost, all was back. And I was like, this is weird, man. And the cigarettes were gone. So again, I don't know. Someone may be playing a prank on me. I don't know. But still, you never know. So let's go back to some of these other stories here. So Bill Russo, he was on a walk, late night walk with his dog, in 1995 in Rainham, Massachusetts. He was a late night walk with his dog, and his dog started trembling. A high pitched voice repeated, "We want you. Come here. We want you. Come here." Bill looked around and saw a 3 to 4 foot tall, pot bellied, hairy, big eyed creature illuminated under a street lamp. It vanished and never appeared. Okay, that's 2 from Massachusetts. What's going on in Massachusetts, you guys? But think about that. Who put a 1 in the chat if you guys have a dog and you guys take them out on late night walks? What would you do if your dog all of a sudden started trembling and was acting weird and scared, and then you hear this little voice? "Hey, we want you. Come here." You look over and there's a little person, 3 to 4 feet tall, and just vanishes in front of you. No more night walks for my dog. Here's an individual. His name's Tom from Freetown State Forest, and if I'm not mistaken, you guys, that's in Massachusetts as well. Now, this person had 2 encounters. The first one, he saw a 2 foot tall, fur covered entity with glowing red eyes and a wolf like nose. The second one, he saw in a parking lot. Tom's car engine started on its own and the radio blared while the creature watched. So, yeah, sketchy creatures out there. Yeah, where you live in a swamp. Man, you can imagine what's going on in that. Here's some Indiana sightings. Mound State Park in Anderson, Indiana. Elois H. has a child, and later an adult encountered curious Pukwudgies. She heard their high pitched laughter. Bill Starsman reported a sighting as a boy in 1927 where a half troll, half human figure with helmet like hair followed him into the woods. That's pretty crazy. And then you have something called the Billboard and the Bridgewater Triangle. Bridgewater Triangle legends say that Pukwudgies lure people off cliffs, stab victims, and throw sand to blind them. Some in Freetown even installed humorous Pukwudgie crossing signs due to the frequent reports. Yeah, that's so it sounds like Massachusetts is pretty active. So, here's one in Maine. In Fairfield, Maine, a woman walked her dog in the snowy woods when her dog froze by a tree. A featureless black humanoid stepped out, oversized head, swollen belly, no visible eyes or fingers. It seemed telepathic, and spotting it triggered a sudden snownado that dissipated when they fled. McQueen, Jason, I know you live in Lacey, Washington. For those of you who do not know where Lacey, Washington is, it is a little north of Olympia and a little northwest of Tumwater. And there is stuff going on in Lacey, Washington. So, hey, what's up there? Sweetly Morbid Bear. That's a cool name. All right, so let me ask you guys some questions. If you guys have any questions for me right now, we'll do a little Q&A, and let's see what we got going on. Any questions, send them, kind of put them all in caps like Richie Evans is doing. And I will wait and get Miss Godfrey's book. These should be pretty good, you guys. Like, who knows some other names of little people? We have elf, we have gnome, we have dwarf, um, we have Pukwilly. Um, oh, Jason, I would not be surprised unless Lacey has just exploded with tons of people and tons of new buildings. Lacey still pretty has some pretty good wild spots still. A lot of forest in that area if they haven't cut it all down. I wouldn't be surprised at all. All right, so we have no questions. Okay, so let's start reading some of these stories that Letta Godfrey had been able to has been able, to put in this book. So this one is called "The Elf of Victoria, Canada." This unusual report from a pleasant Canadian man was dated April 1st, 2017. And she says, "Note that month and day, if you please." Ooh, 11.5 pound brisket. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna actually try to find the actual encounter here. Okay. So the person that she's gonna be calling, she'll refer to him as B. He seemed genuinely surprised that she would question his story, but also understood the necessity. He wrote, "I was not joking about the sighting, and I still am shaken after all these years. I wouldn't prank anyone like that. It's not in my character to do that sort of thing. I'm very pleased that you are interested in using my story, and I hope that I can help others understand this odd parallel existence." And he said that it was about an elf. Let's see here. She writes back, "Sorry, I'm sorry for not getting back to you, but here goes. The date of this encounter was late July in 2014, most likely the last week of that month. Early in the morning, just before sunrise, around 5:10 a.m., the sun was rising at about 5:40 a.m., give or take. I was 37 at the time. I was delivering newspapers near a wooded area around the local university in Victoria, BC, Canada, located near the UVic area. There's a wooded area that surrounds the entire campus, and of the facing I was southwest of it facing north. I was 1 block away on a parallel street. I was doing the paper route at the time due to an emergency money being required due to my girlfriend breaking her leg and being unable to work. I was on medical disability as well at the time, but the paper route was supplementing my income. B then stated the street that he stood on was at a higher elevation than the ground around him. So he had a good view of the nearby street where an owl began to make a ruckus. He said, "The owl was really squawking and making quite a lot of noise, and I could even hear it through my headphones. When I took them off, I could have sworn the bird got louder. I was cautious what was going on, so I stopped delivering to the block I was on and quickly whipped around the block to where I had heard the noise. I had no idea what was going to happen next. When I arrived, the bird was no longer making sounds. In fact, it was so silent. I slowly turned my head to the right, and this was my field of vision. I do not want to sound flaky, but I had been told how to encounter what I had how to encounter what I saw by someone who deals with hidden occult creatures." Now wait a minute. Would you guys consider that the little people, the cryptid little people, would you guys consider them to be a cult? Like OCCULT? I wouldn't think so. Honestly, I wouldn't think so. And if anybody's out there been ever played Dungeons and Dragons, I always played like a halfling or I played an elf of some kind. So that's another story. But anyway, um, I had been hoping for about a year to encounter something, and I was practicing quite frequently. So this was an end result of hard work, I guess you can say. As my eyes became adjusted to the dark forest, I no longer felt alone. In fact, I felt like I was looking into the trees or the earth realm. It went completely silent, and it felt like I was in a big vacuum. He later describes that he says several creatures had stepped towards me all at once, but one of them, the one in the center, stood out the most. He describes the characteristics. I noticed l- how his one leg is bigger than the other. That's because he was stepping into my world. I wonder if it was doing that to him. But let's see, was he about 4 feet? He was about 4 feet tall. The others were really tall and skinny or small and fat. Some of them were even bent sideways like an upside down U, feet on the ground and their head pointing to the ground. Very unusual. They were all staring at me, but the one in the illustration, I guess he'd given her an illustration, felt like he was asking me a question, like what were my intentions? I could still see the force behind him, or half of it. It really looked like two worlds had overlapped. Both worlds looked transparent. He then later goes on and discusses that he replied in his mind and heart with the intention of peace. At this point, I was really uncomfortable, so I decided that the encounter had to stop. I threw it out there and I was not going with them and stepped backwards, kind of how Van Helsing steps back from Bela Lugosi in Dracula. The vacuum sound vanished and so did they. I raced home and drew a picture. I have no idea what they were, but judging by the conical hats and the pointy ears, they were earth creatures, possibly elves, gnomes, or sprites. They were black and had a off-white glow about them. Their eyes looked like strobe lighting, pulsing, and they flashed their entire color spectrum, even colors I had never seen before, possibly infrared or ultraviolet. You could call it summoning because I did actively seek them out and was inviting them through intention. I knew from what my friend had told me that it wouldn't be a hostile situation, but to be cautious and don't accept anything, food, etc. He also told me that if you had to be in the right, I happened to be in the right place at the right time in my mind and heart in order for it to work. I would say that the elves and myself were indifferent, but were willing to trust. I, however, did not want to go past what we encountered. I felt their attempt to contact me again multiple times, usually at sunset, and I feel a bit uneasy. I do not go out in the early morning anymore, but I still do feel like there is a link available if I was to pursue it. I'm pretty good at opening and closing my reception to it all. Like a big steel door that if I opened it, I want to see what's through the veil. Guys, that's a pretty cool um encounter. I mean, very detailed on what he saw and kind of giving you on what he was thinking he was looking at. Now again, I've never encountered a little person and apparently quite a few people in the chat. Um Felix, welcome. Kirsten, hello. Who else am I missing in here? Yeah. Gnomes freak me out, Sherry says. I can understand it, things like that. They are the tillers of the earth. I honestly I think that, it's kind of funny that it's mentioned that they are part of the occult, OCCULT. I don't believe that. I think that they like sweetly morbid bears saying they're tillers of the earth. They're earth people. They're part of the earth. Um, but again, until I really got into this whole cryptid um genre, I guess you could say, I never really heard of anything outside of, like I said, Darby O'Gill and the Little People and Gulliver's Travels, the Lilliputians, or you hear people talk about the Leprechaun, or you see the movie The Leprechaun, where they're evil little creatures. I really don't. Um, I've never had any encounters like that. I don't think I've ever had or heard anything in the woods. Um, that would make me think that I had encountered, a little person. Now, what would I think? I really don't know. I really don't know. Kind of cool, maybe. Frightening, absolutely, especially if some of them are nasty. So we're gonna get on to another one. So this story comes from the Olympic wood elf. And Linda stated that not all elf reports are as detailed as bees, which was on the previous story. Um, she received another report from an unknown little forest being from someone who said he's been contemplating whether he should contact me for about half a year and finally decided it was worth a try. His experience occurred in the fall of 2016 in the Olympic National Forest in the state of Washington, an area better known for many sightings of Bigfoot. The writer, a man in his early 30s who wished to remain anonymous, wrote, I don't know what you could even call it exactly, except some kind of ENT. Am I saying that right? ENT? Hey, Teresa, how's it going? Welcome to the show. Or wood elf, or skinny, creepy being that is a walking small tree thing. I have a photo. It would really help me if you know of other people seeing this kind of thing. I've had an extremely hard time going out alone during the day and would like to have some closure. I have loved the outdoors all of my life and have a lot of anger about not feeling safe any longer. That is my own stuff, I guess. But even if just one other person has had something like this, I will feel some sense of relief. I think he might have found B's report helpful. The creature described by B aren't exactly the same as a wood elf, the wood elves that he encountered, but they have proven to an illustration, or excuse me, illuminating comparison. So, from what I understand, again, when you hear something that's talking, hey, Robbie, how's it going? When you have something that's kind of talking about an ant or okay, it looks like a small little tree walking around. Again, when you play D&D or anything like that in fantasy games, they're called treants, kind of like what you saw in Lord of the Rings when the halflings climbed up those trees and they come walking out. You know, those are ants or treants. So again, I thought it was just a fantasy thing. Tony Ritchie, what's up, buddy? So that's from the great state of Washington and the Olympic National Forest. Now in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, they have something called the Gnome King. Um, an English professor, Patricia uh, Hogel, for instance, wrote about seeing a tiny, pointy-headed, man-like being she called the Gnome King in her grandparents' house barn uh, for Linda's book called Strange Wisconsin. It was the autumn of 1959, and she was 8 years old. She said, on the day she noticed the shadowy figure staring at her with red eyes, one dark hand grasping the rung of a ladder visible inside an open door of an old building. She described it as a black, squat silhouette with a pointed head or perhaps a hat, and clearly remember thinking, this is 1959. This moment is real. I will never forget it. Tiny people or creatures, especially with pointed hats or heads, a mystery in itself, are truly the stuff of worldwide legends is made. Moreover, old and new legends of various pint sized creatures in the Americas bear great similarities to older tales of little people in Europe, the British Isles, and almost every other place a person could think of on this planet. As Ted Holliday and Colin Wilson aptly noted in their book, The Goblin Universe, there are many sorts of fairies or native spirits, ranging from the tiny Elion, which function within the cell structure of vegetation, to the wandering size, elcombe or trooping fairies, whose illusion to paranormal hoaxes are part of the flying saucer story. So again, you guys, there's a lot of different things that go out there. And again, if anybody has had an encounter with a little person or any other cryptid, please shoot me an email at thecryptidpodcast72 at gmail.com. Now, I'm going to skip over alien grays and UFOs because I don't understand how that kind of fits in with little people, but they have some here for the Native American little people. And Tennessee, let's see here. Readers will recall the special mound burials given to ancient Tennessee pygmy people in chapter 5, which I could go back and check that out. According to a 2006 paper on Native American mythology regarding little people and giants, as many as 85% of over 300 tribes sampled claimed ancient traditions concerning little people. The same paper notes many similarities in the various tribes' beliefs about little people, such as they preferred location near water. Paper author Frederick Harris wrote, "Springs, bogs, swamps, riverbanks, caves behind falls, ice sheets, and large islands prove very popular because they link the reconciled two main elements of American Indian folklore, water and stone. The sound of flowing water disguises the voices of the Abenaki and the Salish little people, while Micmac little people were created from watery sounds." So you see again, this is the duality with all humanoids, good and bad. That's true. That's absolutely true. So you guys, there's so many different um things out there. Where the term little people come from, where they, you know, how they interact with people. I heard a story once in Alaska describing an Ewok looking creature that took her daughter. If you could email, because I think you've emailed me before, email me something to that reference. Or I just might look it up. I really don't know. Again, you guys, believe it or not, help me out more than you guys know. Just by I'm constantly writing things down when I'm reading the chat. Something catches my eye, and I write it down so I can look it up later. So that just got written down. Alaska Ewok took daughter. I'm gonna look for that and see what we can come up with. Um, let's see here. Several people have encouraged a person to write Linda about his experience. He said that this person had told her. I interviewed him by phone, and we shared several other written conversations. He also took part of a extended conversation with members of Facebook group Unknown Creature Spot not long after his Iowa encounter in mid-June of 2017. The first incident occurred on a spelunking trip he made to the state of San Luis. Okay, I'm going to butcher this so anybody can understand this. It's Potosi, but San Luis. I'm not even going to try to butcher it, but it's in Mexico. He took this trip in 2002 with some colleagues and a local guide, Rico. Their initial destination was the Cave of Swallows, the world's largest known cave shaft, which is considered the ultimate place to base jump, an acronym for jumping platforms, building antennas, spans, and earth. Uh, the daring sport involves taking a flying leap off of one's choice of platform and deploy a parachute at the right time in order to land safely below. No, thank you. And Tony, you were stationed in Alaska. We're at in Alaska. Let's see here. Mark and his companions survived a day of jumping 1,400 feet down into this cave and then struck off on a 2-day backpack trek through the jungle to explore a different cave in a Squamon, where Mark said things begin to get strange. It was a several day trip through the cave. During our trip through, we kept seeing a little thing dart in and out of the flashlight shadows, an upright walking thing about waist high. None of us got a good look at it as it would run off as soon as we shined a light towards it. I felt I I felt it was stalking us and we made our way through. Not in a menacing way, but we felt it was more of a curiosity. Some of the passages we took were extremely tight, crawling room only, as we could hear the creature behind us. We would stop and listen, and it stopped right away as well. On our trip, we had gear disappear, several wrappers, a lighter, a candle, goggles, but nothing of real value, just shiny things. Several times we would catch a terrible smell at the same time we heard something coming. It reminded me of rotting from a dead animal. We had a set of night vision goggles and through the goggles we saw the creature run into the shadows and hide behind a ledge. We could see movement through the goggles, and Rico told us that the movement was a breath what? Was the breath of the creature as as in the cold air. This was very strange to me because it showed intelligence that I doubt it had. Somehow, it seemed to know that we had night vision lenses, or else why would it have hidden and waited us out? It was so dark in the room, and had no reason to think we could see it. You could not see 5 inches without the light. So that left me confused, confused, and still sticks in my mind to this day. If you're wondering why we didn't just walk over and look behind the ledge, it was because we were about 30 feet up, overlooking a large room at this point. We waited for about 30 minutes, and it stayed put and waited for us to continue on our path. At one point, my buddy fired off a flare, and he saw it. He said that his eyes were not visible, and it was very quick. Its feet were more like human with narrow toes. He followed us the whole time. Mark wasn't sure whether or they were being stalked by a single individual or by several of them in turn. We did not feel threatened, but we definitely had things stolen. The locals would not talk about it. They may have thought it would have been bad for business. I feel there's a real possibility for the discovery of these things if only we'd had traps or recording equipment. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Hey, Wade, what's up, bud? Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. You guys, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and hit the thumbs up if you could. Give me a like. If you haven't subscribed, you're new to the channel or new to the chat, please let me know. I truly appreciate it. I don't know, Squatch Mom. I don't know what you're trying to say, but I appreciate you trying to help me say it. Yeah, I've heard that as well. They love shiny objects. They're just being mischievous. I don't think they're doing it to be, um, you know, uh, harmful in any way, shape, or form. But again, you know what they say that if you disrespect them or you disrespect the land or disrespect, um, you know, their beliefs or whatnot, they'll come back and get you. So again, let's open up for any questions. Anybody has any questions or any stories or anything like that? Anything you'd like me to look up? I've seen one with a giant head, a tiny body, a quarter the size of its head. Okay. Sweetly morbid bear. The email is the cryptidpodcast72 at gmail.com. Send me an email. I would love to hear you guys. I'm serious. I am so grateful for you guys coming on here and giving me these little tidbits of sightings or encounters you've had. I'd love to hear more about them. So even if you don't want to come on the show, I would love to hear your story. I'd love to safeguard that story. They don't like our messy minds. I have a tendency to believe. Hey, what's up, Wade? That a lot of things um, that are pretty much in tune with the earth um, don't like the fact how bad. Dude, what's up, Rob? Thank you so much, man. You rock, brother. Appreciate you. Um, I have a tendency to believe that um, if we disrespect our surroundings, because I mean, look what we've already done. It's going to be pretty. It's going to be pretty crazy. We think that we can just go where these people's, these little creatures' backyards are, and just continue to do what we want to do, um, and not have any type of repercussions, you know, with it. So, but other than that, you guys, seriously, if you're ever going out, just go ahead and be respectful of your surroundings. If you have any garbage with you, pack it out. Daryl, what's up, buddy? Hello. Daryl, I almost messaged you to see if you wanted to be a co-host tonight, but I didn't know if you were busy or not because I'm going solo tonight, you guys. So, um, I hit the thumbs down by accident, fix that. Oh, cool, thank you. I kind of like, wait a minute, who didn't like it? And someone asked me a question. Dan, where is the Tennessee convention you're coming to? I'm going to be going to the one at, is it McMinnville, Tennessee. So, yeah, McMinnville. Oh, I would not doubt it. Greasebag, the Iroquois have legends about little people. I think every native tribe has um some sort of folklore when it comes to little people because you have to look about it, you guys. They were on this continent way, way before we even came over. So, oh, I know that, Kirsten. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I know I'm never, 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 never uh going solo here because I constantly look at the chat, see what's going on. Sometimes I catch some funny conversations going on there. Um, Going to lurk mode now. Hey, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate it. And um, Sweetly Morbid Bear, absolutely. 100%. If you've come across trash, you guys, seriously, pick it up and pack it on out. So yeah, the Shelleys and Pukwudgies. Daryl, do you have any encounters or stories of those? Do you? Do you? Do you? Indiana has some stories about little people. Absolutely. I just read a couple on there, and I didn't know it, but Massachusetts also does. So does Maine. A lot in the same area in Massachusetts. Um, there was like four stories where they all talked about one certain location. So Tennessee Wildman Convention, yep, I think that's the one in McMinnville. I'll be attending that one. I'll probably be driving down the 11th or 12th down to Arkansas to see Josh from Mysteries Unknown, my buddy. And then I'm going to head on over from his place over to McMinnville for the conference. And then I'm probably going to Stillwell. Dale, do you want to come on and talk about those? Just give me the word and I'll send you an invite. You know what? This is what I'm going to do, you guys. This is what I'm going to do. You guys send me an email if you would like to come on the show right now and talk about any encounter you guys see or have had. Shoot me an email. Here's my phone. There's my email. I'm going to see who wants to come on. Oh, Daryl's at Fireworks Show right now. There you go. So, guys, you guys see what my email address is. There it is, the cryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. If anybody wants to come on the show right now, you want to come on the show right now, shoot me an email, and we'll talk about an encounter you've had, a story that you know of. We'll talk about it. Let's do it. Do I have any takers? Let's go back and see what other stories we have in here. Okay. Okay, let's see. What do we got here? Hey, Kirsten, come on. You're more than welcome. Everybody's more than welcome. Now, I'm telling you right now, this happened to another podcast. Someone somehow got a hold of to come on the show, and this person started showing his stuff. And yeah, and so if that happens, I am going to ban you for life. So let's not have any of that. Let's just talk about what we got going on. I'm painting at the moment. Got to finish before I go to bed. Man, you're always working, man. You guys, here's one. This is where I find kind of weird. Okay, check this out. I don't want to say it's weird. How about short squatch? Have you guys heard of short squatch? Okay, so let's see what we got here. 1 second. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna mark everything as red. So now, when you guys come on the show, if you guys want to, well then we'll do that. Okay, so short squatch. A trait that can make identification of small hairy creatures even more difficult is that some apparently have wings, make them resemble humanoids, such as oversized bats. In May of 2000, an incident in Santa Ela, Chile, they had an unsettling experience of a 32-year-old Alejandro Calenas. They said that he was walking home late one night after tending to the rabbit pens to keep at other locations, when he discovered something lurking in the darkness that seemed more interested in him than his rabbits. As the man made his way through an unlighted alley shortcut. Hold on a second, you guys. You guys, I hate to do this. I got to cut this short. I got to attend to something. So you guys, thank you so much for coming on and showing this. You guys, I'm sorry, I got to cut this short. This is real life things. So I will talk to you guys later. I will make it up to you. I promise. You guys have a great night. Thank you for coming on. And remember, a legend always starts with a sighting. Bye, guys.
I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?